In my last video, I talked about how we have English Bibles, whether they are, as you may have heard from some people, translations of translations of translations. And the answer is no. The English Bibles that we read are translated from the Greek, from the Hebrew that the Bible was originally written in. I intended this week to talk a little bit more about transmission of the Bible's text, translation issues. But there was a comment on our YouTube channel from someone who's been following along with these videos that I thought I would step away from that flow of thought to address first. It's a little bit outside the vein of the things that I've been doing. So far, what I've been doing with you is something that I would call evidential apologetics, dealing with, in particular, claims about real history, real times and places and people. This is a more philosophical type objection, and I don't mind dealing with these kinds of things, but I generally lean into what we might call an evidential apologetic method. It was an interesting question, though. I don't think it's a particularly strong objection, to be clear. We'll get into it in a moment. But I thought perhaps I could take a break from the evidential style of apologetics and go through a little more philosophical of a thought with you all. So the comment that was on our YouTube channel by someone who's been watching some of these videos was asking this question: is God bigger than the universe or not? And this person referenced a number of Bible verses that talk about God's ability to roll up the heavens like a scroll, or that God fills the entire universe, or the idea that we all exist, we live and move within God. And this person listed off those Bible passages and then raised the thought, well, if God is really bigger than all the universe, how can I, as a Christian, make the claim that Jesus is God? A person who is probably under 6 feet tall, who has a body, who could sit in a chair next to me, right? If Jesus has the ability to sit on a couch next to me, how can he be the God who fills all the universe? I pointed out to this person that what they are doing with this question, is God big, is God small, is making a category error. The Bible teaches in other places that God is spirit. That comes out, for instance, in John chapter 4, in Jesus' conversation with the woman at the well in Samaria. He references the fact God is spirit. God, in other words, is an immaterial being by nature. And so material terms, like big or small, it's a category mistake, a category error to try and describe God in such a way. Let me give an example of another category error that you could make to show exactly what that philosophical idea, a category error, is talking about. If I'm sitting down with you and I'm talking about a TV show that I've really enjoyed recently, and I'm recommending it to you, but you're skeptical and you're asking about it, and finally you say, well, is it yellow? Because I don't really like yellow. What do you mean? How could a TV show be yellow? Like, is the color yellow in a lot of shots? No. This is a category mistake to try and describe a TV show with the color yellow. A shirt could be yellow, a couch could be yellow, a TV show can't really be yellow. There are other words that we could use to describe it. It could be upbeat. It could be fast-paced. It could be gritty. Those would all be weird words to use about a t-shirt. A t-shirt could be yellow, but I can't really speak of a t-shirt as being gritty or fast-paced. It's a category mistake, in other words, to try and refer to these objects, these things, with words that are only apt descriptors of a different category of thing. Likewise, God cannot be described in terms such as big or small. God is spirit. God is immaterial. And big, small are material descriptors. It simply doesn't make sense to try and disprove the divinity of Jesus by saying, well, God is big. That doesn't work. I also pointed out to this person that the Bible does indeed confess the full divinity of Jesus in various places. The verse in particular that I pointed to as one example in my reply to this person was Colossians chapter 2, verse 9. See, even pastors don't always get those kinds of things right. Colossians 2, verse 9, which says, "In Christ, all the fullness of the deity, all of God, lives in bodily form." In other words, it doesn't really work to take some Bible passages and say, aha, it says that God is big, therefore Jesus can't be God. Other Bible passages very clearly state Jesus is God, and, once again, we're making a category error if we assign material qualities, big, small, to an immaterial spirit. Now, there are further questions that we could dig into. Those would be questions in the realm of Christology. How exactly do we understand the person who is Jesus Christ, this man who is also God? That's an interesting area to dig into. And we will do that sometime in this video series, but that would be the topic for another video. Thanks for watching.